right. We should be here live. Let me double check. All right. Looks good. So thank you, Tyler, for hopping on this live stream with me. I really appreciate your time. And I watched that video that you did on John Crestani's channel, and I was just blown away by how simple you explain the process of internet marketing and the process of advertising on Facebook. And I'm very privileged to have you here as a guest and sharing this knowledge that you've learned in your journey, and kind of passing on that knowledge and passing it forward to people that are new in this journey and maybe are struggling or haven't seen the type of success that you've seen, Tyler, and kind of sharing some insights and wisdom with how they can achieve your success and kind of leapfrog over some of the hurdles that you had as you started this journey. So, Tyler, right before we got on the live stream, you talked about how before, when you first started getting into advertising and marketing, you were focused on free traffic and SEO. So talk to me a little bit about your background and how you got started in internet marketing and how you originally got into free traffic versus paid traffic.
Sure, happy to do that. I've heard the story behind before, but the first business I had was actually video production. I was like this wedding videographer. And I created this little handmade, simple HTML website to advertise the business. And that was back in like 2006. And I thought, well, if I could just make this web page get lots of traffic from specific searches on Google, I would do well. So I learned SEO. I ended up ranking that page on the top of Google searches for all that I was getting.
I can hear him, but he's very low.
400%. And that was my first experience with that. Wow, marketing and advertising that really works. And I started off thinking like it was kind of more fun to do the SEO part than it was to do writing videos, because that's a good thing. So I started doing SEO as an affiliate.
1 second, Tyler. I think that we're having a little bit of audio problems on your end. Let me, yeah, perhaps can you turn up the gain on yours? Yeah, on your microphone. There should be a little knob on your microphone to turn up the gain. I think I can hear him pretty good on my end. What do you think it is?
I'm not sure. I can hear him, but very low.
Interesting.
And our settings are the same as the other day, right? Did you change anything?
Yeah, it's all the same.
Push the eCam, go to Skype.
Oh, I think I know what it is. I know what's going on. All right, there we go. I think we fixed the problem. I wasn't pushing the eCam for my audio source.
No, Skype should just be...
No, for eCam.
You sure?
Yeah, this is it. So, Tyler, go ahead and let's restart how your journey with free. So, and thank you for bearing with me, guys. The information is definitely well worth it. I was blown away, and if I'm blown away, then you guys are going to be blown away. I promise you. So, Tyler, starting from the top about your journey getting into free traffic and how you were ranking a site. So, you just were explaining how you just ranked a site for a very valuable keyword.
Right. At the time, it was just for like local wedding videographers, and I started getting all these inquiries, and there was so much business that it grew 400%, and I was so surprised, like, wow, there's a lot of power to advertising online when we'd been in the yellow pages at the time, and even though that was generating inquiries, it didn't compare. And this was back when Google was just starting to become the primary search engine, and so it was so much more fun to do the SEO part of it than to actually do wedding video work that I started to get into that. And I had kind of a mini SEO free traffic agency, and I ended up getting rankings for what were at the time some of the most coveted keyword searches at the time, such as make money online. I was actually ranked on page 1 of Google for that for years with an offer for a client. It wasn't even for me. But as I was seeing the success for clients, I started doing it more for myself. But I ran into some problems, which were, one, there was limited scalability because there was no way to rank for everything, even though there were lots of black hat SEO ways that you could, SEO spam and stuff like that. And I didn't really get into that side of it, especially because I had clients that I was doing SEO work for. And that's when it was when I was actually part of a coaching group for SEO and free traffic that I was introduced to John, who really helped me understand the
And that's John
benefits.
Cristani, right?
Yeah, John Cristani.
Okay.
That's how we really met. Was I was in a group coaching SEO traffic, and he was in that same group coaching paid traffic. And while I had had a little bit of success with paid traffic before, I always had an aversion to it because I thought to myself, why would I pay for something I can get for free? But then as Google started to change up the algorithm, purposely trying to mess with people like me that were getting traffic for free and getting paid to get traffic for other people, I'm sure they felt like that's money that should have been going to them for their platform, and I understand that, you know.
I mean, Facebook is doing that right now by restricting organic reach on Facebook pages.
Precisely, and it's what the stockholders want, and honestly, I can't blame them. It's just a good business decision, really.
Right.
And so rather than fight the train, I got on the train, and I'm like, you know what, there's something to this. Now that I've met somebody that's really successful with it, he really kind of helped mentor me and correct the things I was doing wrong, and in that next year started to run some very successful campaigns and affiliates that started generating hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions in a single month. And to me, it's just like, this is so much better than client work, and
Right.
there's
more lucrative.
so much scalability. It's more profitable. It's less work sometimes. I mean, it's hard work, but working for clients is hard work too, and stuff like that. And so transitioned out of free traffic, basically kissed that goodbye, and focused on paid traffic with Facebook, with Google, and with native ads. And one of the things I learned that was best is that the speed of your testing really defines the speed of your success. The problem with SEO and free traffic was all your testing was really slow, because you couldn't just be up and running in 24 hours. A lot of times, sometimes it would take weeks to know what you were doing. But with paid traffic, you could also control a lot of different variables, and that's when I started to figure out that a lot of times a campaign isn't broken. There's just one part of the campaign that's misaligned. So there's really three main places that you analyze an ad campaign. One is your audience, which comes first. Having the right audience makes a huge difference. That audience needs to resonate with the right ad, because if you send the wrong ad to that right audience, you're going to think your campaign is broken. You'll think, oh, this doesn't work, when really you just didn't test enough ads to get a good match to that audience. So if you're getting a high click-through rate on your ad from the audience, usually that's an indicator that the ad and the audience are a good match. And then you've got your offer, or your landing page, as we can call it too, and then the conversion rate on your landing page of that audience from those ads determines the success of the campaign that way as well. And if any one of those three variables is misaligned, then the campaign usually won't work. But rather than throw in the towel, the nice thing about paid traffic is that you can test faster. You have more variables under your control. So a good way to test is to have multiple audiences, test multiple ads, but test the same ads to each of those audiences so that it's a good test and you're getting good data without contaminating it by mixing things up too much. And then you have a series of landing page or offer tests, and you link those to each of the ads. And that was when I learned to use the platform Volume, where I could control very easily different landing pages and how those were distributed and tested. And then on the ad platforms, obviously they have their control of the audiences and the ads. So in terms of like Facebook, if you're going to be successful, you need to be testing different audiences, and you need to test different ads to those audiences, and then test different offers from those ads to those audiences, and do what we call multivariate testing. And because you're testing multiple variables at once, so really, if you do the math, that can come out to be, dozens and dozens of different combinations, and I can be testing those in a 24-hour period and spot the losers very quickly and identify what the trends are that are leading to good success with the campaign. And some of those micro indicators would be the click-through rate on the ad from one audience is higher than another. Now, that's only one indicator. I would never say like the click-through rate is the metric to optimize for. That's something to look for, as the way that data tells you that this audience is responding very well to this ad. But if the audience responds well to that ad and then goes to the offer and they're bouncing and they're not converting, then obviously there's something misaligned, and whatever the client was the visitor was expecting to see from that ad on the landing page was incongruent. Right. It wasn't what they were looking for. And so that's the simplest terms of when you're using paid traffic, that those are the three primary variables at play. And if you can get those three to work, then you can make a lot of money, because if you can get the right audience, the right ad, and get them the right offer to convert, you can increase the value of those clients in the upsells or in the lifetime value with remarketing and advertising through email and all these other channels that come into play if you can dominate acquisitions.
Absolutely. So I got a question. So Robert Navis just asked, where does somebody start? So this all sounds for somebody that's just getting into it. It's like, dude, I'm just trying to put up a website right now. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to point the name servers over to my host to make it work. How do you tell somebody that's approaching it from that level and is still trying to put the pieces together? Is it worth it for them? Have they missed out on an important gold rush, or is it something that they can teach themselves over time?
So I taught myself a little bit of basic web encoding design, but fortunately now I don't use hardly any of it because platforms have evolved so well that it's usually really easy to get that. Probably my favorite platform right now for simple, good marketing landing pages to start with there. ClickFunnels is one of my favorites now. I like that it comes with a lot of templates that are well tested and are geared toward conversion. They're very results driven. So if you don't know how to build a website or a landing page or anything like that, I would recommend starting with a ClickFunnels account and create a template from what's there.
Okay.
So that would be a good first step if you don't know how to build a website or anything. Now obviously that's a paid platform. There's a lot of value in that, and it does a lot of things. But it's like driving a car. When you're 16 years old in the U.S. and you're just learning to drive a car, you really don't learn all the advanced things that you can do with it. You just want to get from point A to point B with your buddies, which, some people want to get hung up on all the features that all these platforms do. Don't worry about any of that. All you want is a page that you can put content on that will be responsive to people's different devices, because that's a big deal. You want a web page that will be optimized for not only just people on their computers, but on their mobile devices, which is where most of the volume is today.
Do you see most of your conversions coming from mobile devices?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
I'm almost completely mobile at this point. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's almost ridiculous unless it's a very, very specific age group that I'm trying to target. It's almost all mobile.
Absolutely. And so, coding for mobile is more complicated and more difficult than like the traditional little bits of web design and HTML and coding that I learned. So using a platform like ClickFunnels where all the coding is already designed to be optimized for mobile, that gives you a huge step forward, because believe it or not, how your content appears on mobile devices makes a huge impact on your conversions. There's a point in your campaigns where to optimize your offer, you're worrying about how fast does your page load. Well, if you're playing with hosting and if you're creating your own pages and you've got worry about investing in a dedicated server, which is expensive, there's a lot of expenses that you can accumulate to try and do that. To me, the simplest thing is just get a ClickFunnels account and start with landing pages there, and you can do everything you need to do with what those are created, and that's a good place to start in terms of your building your landing pages. If you don't like that, I mean, there are competitors to ClickFunnels that I haven't tested, and you can always still just go to the old WordPress on a free host like that. But I would recommend starting with a landing page builder. ClickFunnels does everything that I need it to do, and anything that any marketer needs, basically.
Okay. How about choosing an offer? What would be your tips on somebody that's like, okay, well, I can figure out how to do the landing page part. ClickFunnels, I'm hip with it. Russell Brunson stuff's awesome. But how about finding an offer? I don't want to spend my money on something that is doomed for failure to begin with.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is one of the things that I talk to a lot of companies is that one of the biggest errors that startups make is that they pick their product before their audience. I'm a fan that you got to know your audience first, and if you know your audience, you can find the offer for them. So the audience that I probably have seen the most success with in my paid advertising, especially in the health and nutritional space, is baby boomers. I mean, if you're above the age of 45, health becomes a major concern for you, and they're more responsive nowadays to online ads than they used to be, and they're willing to buy and they're willing to take a chance and invest. So that's the audience that I'm looking for.
And they have the money to invest. They have the money to
and
do
they have
it.
Yeah, picking college students as a market is never a good idea unless you have like a free app, not something that costs.
Right.
Well, but if you have an offer that's designed toward a buyer market that is willing to spend in excess of $100 the first time they come in contact with you, that's the audience that I've seen the most success with, and it's been primarily in the health and nutritional space. So by targeting that audience, you can get really good data from them on Facebook. Most of them are on Facebook now, and you can test different segments of that audience based on interest, and Facebook's data has gotten better, I think, in the last couple of years of identifying those people. Since we all know they spy on us through our cell phones now, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
They're listening to these baby boomers while they're shopping at Walgreens and like, oh, this person buys vitamins.
Well, they're also buying the data from those rewards programs.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They're buying data. Facebook is buying data. Not only they're collecting data on us, but they're buying data. That's why data is the new gold. Data is, I have this where is it? I have this thing where they'll test your poop. I know it sounds ridiculous, but they'll test your poop and you send it in and it's free. Well, your insurance covers it, and they'll analyze whatever preconditions you may or may not have. And I started to think, okay, what's their angle? I have the packet over here. I'm like, what's their angle? And it's the data. I started doing more research on the company, and they're making all their money on the data. Yeah. It's incredible. Think about that data that they're selling. Who are they selling it to? But, okay, let's say you have a condition, some inflammation in your bowel. You don't think that the insurance companies want a hand on that info to be able to feed that into their big data algorithm that they have for risk and assessment? Of course they do.
Absolutely. And from a consumer standpoint, our spending activity is all saved somewhere unless you're doing like cash in hand at the fair where there's nothing tracking it. But since most of us use our cards, all of that gets saved and tracked. And if you don't believe that that's being sold, you're just really naive.
Right. Well, Facebook, is not. People think that they are the customer on Facebook. They're like, well, Facebook should give me better customer service. It's like, dude, you're not the customer. You're the cattle, baby. Like, we're the customers.
Yeah. Us as the advertisers, we are paying to reach you, and you are telling the whole world what you want based on your activity on Facebook and the other data they've been able to match to you, right?
Right.
So, so that's why their interest targeting has gotten a lot better. Their demographic data keeps getting better, and that's because to serve their real customers, which are us, the advertisers, we're able to get better responses by having those data points available. So in picking your audience, knowing what your audience needs are, that's when you go out and shop for offers. So let's say a lot of baby boomers have problems with weight control. They're worried about aging. They might be snoring and have sleep apnea. So let's just take snoring, for example. If I target this segment and I just test them generally to see information about snoring and the dangers of it. One of the stories with that tends to get people kind of excited is the fact that a football player years ago died from sleep apnea. His name was Reggie White.
Oh shit!
And And like it gets people scared, like you could die from snoring, and obviously there was more to it than just the snoring, but
Where
the
you probably had
fact
like a
that
heart attack, but it contributes to the coronary, stuff that goes on in your heart, and
yeah,
fascinating.
and the deeper you get into that, you find that there have been studies done on the fact that people who snore, that's actually an indicator that you have other problems, like heart problems, like you just said. And so as you take this factual data and you present it to these baby boomers, for example, which have a real interest in health and nutrition, and they understand that they want to prolong their life, most of them, then you offer them solutions like, hey, here's a product that helps, solve snoring. Here's a product that helps you lose weight so you snore less. And, you take that condition of snoring and you attach the solutions to it. And that's the kind of offer that you want to make. But if you go out and you just shop for offers and you have no idea who you're selling to, then you could pick a totally golden offer and really just miss the boat because you don't know who to sell it to.
Right.
So,
Right, or you're not
picking,
selling it correctly. Like you could take a sleep apnea machine, and if you're selling it as something just as simple as like, oh, it opens up your nasal passageways, it's FDA approved, it has battery recharging, all this stuff that nobody cares about, and you're not hitting the deeper fears and
yep,
their frustrations and their desires and all the things that keep them up at night, then it's not going to be nearly as effective. And
absolutely,
I think you touched upon a great point there. Not only understanding your audience, but understanding the fears of your audience. And I'm a big preacher of that. If you want to make a lot of money very, very quickly, focus on products and services that solve a problem. Like I made my first $1 million doing student debt relief. So obviously a big national pain point product by offering a solution. So understanding my market was a younger audience, but going into that understanding that they don't have money, the offer was free. All they had to do was call in. All they had to pay to get their problem solved. But I got paid as long as they called in. And all these things align, understanding my audience, understanding their fears, their frustrations, and offering them solution. I made millions of dollars doing that. And the same can be applied towards any demographic and vertical. If you understand them, understand their pain points, and find products that align with their pain points, you're going to have a much easier, much more successful journey into the internet marketing than if you're just kind of picking stuff out of the hat and hoping for the best.
absolutely. And in your advertising, you want to vocalize what people are thinking or feeling, but they aren't saying, right? So the the reason why the snoring offer could work and is the fear of sleep apnea is that everybody's afraid of dying, but nobody goes around saying all day, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. But instinctually, it's reactive that, hey, we want to preserve here, we don't want to die. So when you bring this fact up, like, hey, you could die if you have this thing, it could be a signal of something else, then you're verbalizing something that they already are thinking, that they're already afraid of, and by giving voice to those fears and offering a solution, you naturally generate trust because people are like, hey, you look like you're someone trying to help me out, not somebody trying to pitch me some widget, right?
Right.
So if you're trying to sell a widget, you don't sell what the widget is, you sell what the problem solves, and that's like the basics of successful advertising copy. Some of the most successful ads I've run were just along the lines of ads that say, hey, if you are experiencing symptoms like this, it could be a symbol of this, which is something really bad, and that plays into people's fears, and people naturally have that fear, like, oh, I know I have this condition, but they might not be looking for a solution because they don't feel the urgency. So by instilling that urgency, like, hey, there's a bigger problem here at play, this could cause you a lot of pain in the future if you don't act now, that gets people to respond.
Right. Right. So what do you think is more important, the traffic side of it, the optimization, or the copy side of it? Which have you focused on that has helped you make more money? Because I find that internet marketers tend to be one or the other. They're like, I'm a big copywriting guy. Like, that's exclusively what I focus on, and I partner up with other people that are very, very good media buyers, like my media buyer Diego, who's just a master at that, but not so good at copy. So which do you think is more important based off of your experience?
You know what? I think the most important thing is that you understand good advertising and good copywriting, because I know media buyers who can buy really cheap traffic and send me thousands of visitors, but they can't sell their way out of a paper bag. And if the ads are bringing in traffic that is not, preconditioned for the offer in a way that we'll buy, I mean, you can build lead lists, but I've seen lead lists built into the millions that never pan out, and it's really easy to get people to react if you promise them something that isn't what they really want. To get the people to buy, it takes more than just buying traffic. And while I position myself primarily as a media buyer, I also position myself as like a copywriter and a conversion rate optimization guy, because I see these three columns that campaigns need to succeed, which is that audience and ad and landing page / offer. There's copy that happens in two of those three, at the ad level and the landing page level. And if I don't understand the importance of good copy, I could be targeting the winning audience and I could be getting them to click stuff, but they're never going to buy without getting the sale across. So learning how to transfer good salesmanship into writing, into imagery, in a way that can be presented in media, that the kind of media that can be bought, so in banner ads, in text ads, in social media ads, and those kind of things. That's probably been the biggest key to my success. Was I could always get traffic, but I couldn't always get that traffic to convert because I was talking to them wrong, or I was mismatching the audience, which didn't seem like a problem when I was focusing on search, because when people are searching for what you're offering, then it's low-hanging fruit. But that's always going to be a smaller audience. If you learn that you can expand that and reach people across a greater spectrum, if you talk to them according to the phase they're in, then you can convert a lot more and sell a lot more. And those are the phases, that Eugene Schwartz talks about in breakthrough advertising. You got people who are completely oblivious that there's even a problem. One example is I'm doing really well selling something called a safer scraper.
What is it?
A safer scraper.
Safer scraper. Interesting.
So it's for barbecue grills. What a lot of people don't realize is if people clean barbecue grills with a metal bristle brush,
right,
those bristles come loose and they can get stuck to food. People eat them and they puncture their throat.
Holy shit.
They're tested.
Oh my God.
And when I first started advertising this, people were totally saying, oh, this is fear-mongering, this isn't real, until they're blown away by the number of comments. I've had nurses and doctors and ER paramedics comment.
The social proof just gets piled on, huh?
It does. It went viral.
That's great.
And it's going viral because it's like, hey, this is a real thing. And then the victim started like, here's a picture of my son after it happened to him. And this other woman is like, here's a picture of the bristle they pulled out of me surgically,
Oh,
and so,
no.
I've got this huge pain point that most people don't even realize. It's like, hey, I could be having a family barbecue and I might kill my son if I use the wrong scraper.
Wow. See, dude, wow, that's gold. Dude, guys, this is fucking gold here. This is brilliant. There's so many fears and pain points that we can leverage. And you know what? People say, well, is that unethical to like attack people's fears? No. We're letting people know about this fucking catastrophe that could happen to their family by something as benign seeming as a grill brush. Amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's part of the transition I had also in direct response marketing was Jay Abraham, I think, said it best when he said, the product you're promoting, you should feel like you're doing a social obligation to benefit people by what you're offering. Like I'm not fear mongering. I'm saying this is a problem that a lot of people have no idea about until it's too late and they're already in the ER. You can prevent a lot of heartache and pain if you just take these steps. And everybody who tries to troll the ad and be like, oh, I've been in medicine for 20 years, I've never seen this, gets commented by the nurses like, well, there must not be very many people who grill because I've had 2 victims this year.
Wow.
And it's like, it's a mass thing because grilling and barbecuing is obviously mass appeal to families, and we all associate barbecue and grilling with like fun and friends and family and partying, and there's all these pleasant feelings to it. Until you take that and you be like, you know what? It could become a disaster if you do this one thing wrong. You know?
Right.
Are you willing to invest a few dollars and change this one little thing to make sure that doesn't happen? And people are gobbling it up, and it's the holidays, so I even told them, you know what, this thing makes a great gift. You should be buying more of them, and a lot of people are buying them in bulk.
Wow. Are you using video or advertorials? How are you conveying your message across and getting all these fears and stuff?
Great question. So the ad is just a very short sales letter. It's very candid, you know?
Wow.
I believe that candor wins trust. And so it's a short letter with a picture of the tool. We tested using pictures of the victims, and it just kind of scared people away because it was almost too scary.
Right. Oh shit. Yeah. With Facebook, it's all about the nuance. It's all about the subtlety and how you do it. If you're too over the top, then you're going to get a lot of negative reactions. You risk losing your Facebook accounts, and quite frankly, it just doesn't convert as well. As a very, very subtle push towards the acknowledgement of this pain, but also letting them know that, hey, it's not your fault. You just haven't been educated, and then offering them a graceful solution.
Absolutely, yeah. So what it is, it's just a letter. It's written like parent to parent. Be like, hi, my name's so-and-so. I invented this because there's this problem. Here's 5 news sources in a medical journal proving, and my Facebook ad includes those links to all of those sources to substantiate it.
That's great.
And it's just this short letter saying, I created this. It's got these benefits. It's good to use, and it's going to protect you, against these things. And it's getting gobbled up. It's probably my best campaign right now because of the holidays. People are buying lots of it in bulk, and since I get a bigger commission on the bulk sales, I mean, I've been pushing it as a holiday gift angle, and it's been working really, really well. But there's that, like you say, you like to play on the fear. That fear is a huge motivator. And by simply explaining it, like, this is something you should be afraid of, and you should be preventing it. It's as simple as...
It's reckless. Once you know this information, it's reckless not to act on it.
Yeah. Well, every time that they see a metal bristle brush, they're going to cringe now because they're like, And it's definitely... Now there's also kind of an us versus them mentality, because now it's like, well, do I grill safely or do I grill with the risk of this metal bristle brush?
Right. So there's a lot of residual sales that you're going to get after the holidays that are just going to be that organic sale just from word of mouth.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, people are going to see it as a gift. They're going to show it off to their friends. And, that's the kind of product you want to launch.
I mean, you could potentially make 7 figures this advertising season if you have enough inventory for it. I mean, that's a massive product. That's a huge, broad product.
The biggest complaint I'm getting right now is that, hey, we're trying to order more of these as fast as you're selling them. I'm like, dude, I am increasing the budget every day.
Yeah.
Get your act together.
Right. That's a good problem to have, but it's a frustrating problem to have is cap. Not having enough product or service to match your advertising and your lead generation, your sales bringing ability and traffic bringing ability. That's incredible. Yeah, that's exciting when you have something that's not only, like you said, like a public service, that you're doing something that's positive. You go to bed every night and you feel like, not only am I doing something good, I'm making a lot of money doing it, and I'm living a life of freedom, and I don't have a boss, I don't have clients, I'm not worried about Google slaps or all these algorithmic changes that will mess my business up. Now, how much has your life changed since you've gotten into paid advertising versus running the free traffic and relying on clients as your source of income?
Oh, it's good. It's become wonderful. Now I have a full-time team of 4 where I know that their efforts more than pay for themselves every single month. If I want to take an entire day off and not work, I will still be positive. And it used to be that if I didn't work, in client work, it's like if you don't work, they'll fire you because they'll figure out, hey, you're not doing anything.
Right.
Even if the results are good. That was the thing that was most frustrating with me with clients, is that I could get great results, but they wanted to see that you were working like an employee. And it's like, okay, well, we're getting great results whether you do anything or not, so you're fired.
Yeah.
that was really frustrating in working with clients. So now I'm to the point where I'll run when the campaign wins. Go hard, go fast while you've got the opportunity, and if you can, and make it last as long as you can. But also don't feel like I have to be monitoring the campaigns every 5 minutes, the way some people are looking at their Bitcoin wallets.
Right.
It's like I've got something that's pretty stable. I've got a well-trained team, and probably the biggest thing with teams is giving them a written set of procedures and systems so that so when things happen, they can replicate the way I would do it.
Right.
Just being systematic that way. And so now I feel like I have a real business and not just a highly paid job.
Interesting. Yeah. It's fascinating. I mean, so you are your employees remote, or are they in your office?
So I actually have out of the country a full-time office that is staffed with employees, and I have one guy who's remote who is probably like my mid-level manager. Mm-hmm. So I'm not even managing that team. He's the one that's doing most of the management of the team, and then I basically just have to work with him. So I simplified it even further. Rather than managing all four of them, I trained a manager to be almost as good as I am at managing the team. I just have to work with one person, and I can focus on researching opportunities to advertise more. What else do these audiences want? How could I help serve them with additional products that they still aren't even in the know on yet? And so, yeah, that's what I spend most of my day doing is now researching other opportunities, testing more ad copy, and just staying up to date on techniques and changes in the platforms. Like I don't even use most of the capabilities that the Facebook ads platform has. I just have a couple of things that I do that still work. And some guys like John Loomer, he's all about every little thing that Facebook can do. I'm more about like, I just wanted to do this one thing.
Right. Streamline. Yeah, I'm the same way. I just want streamline. I just want to make a couple $1 million a year, have as little stress as possible, and just be able to enjoy what's important to me in life. And how this has changed my life so dramatically is just the ability to travel, the ability to, go out to eat with great people, and constantly be spending time with very high quality people and exchanging ideas, and even having the opportunity to, Skype with you. It's a luxury. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. A lot of people have a job, and here we are exchanging high-level ideas and passing it forward by sharing these high-level ideas and concepts and strategies. And that's a luxury. That's a luxury a lot of people don't have, and it's a luxury I didn't have for many, many years. And I tell people I don't think there's a better industry to be in. Where do you think this industry is going, and more importantly, where do you see the future of your business going? Are you going to continue just riding the trends? Are you trying to stack your money for a big exit? Are you investing in other areas? What's your strategy moving forward, knowing that you can earn 7 figures and multi-7 figures a year doing online marketing? What's next? What's the next step after that?
Well, when you reach the point where you're not worried about money anymore, I mean, to me, I'm a big family guy. I want to spend more time with my wife and kids, and it's like just a couple weeks ago, I was able to blow off anything that was work-related, took my kids out of school. We went to Las Vegas, to Circus Hotel for my son's birthday and stuff.
Awesome.
And he had the funnest time at those stupid little carnival games that are rigged to make you lose. Yeah. Well, obviously I had tons of money to blow, and he started winning them like crazy, and that's the kind of thing that he's going to remember for the rest of his life, was the fun time he had with Dad, because Dad could afford for him to play around and get that experience. We had sacks full of stuffed animals walking out of there. They were giving us bags as he kept winning and winning, and I even tried, and I looked bad. I was losing the game, so I'm like, I'm just going to keep playing for you to play as sons, and they were just destroying in those carnival games, and it was so much fun, and those kind of memories can't be bought, and they're not possible with a job. So obviously the lifestyle is what I want to maintain. I want to stay close to my wife and kids. I've got my 4th son is on the way, and
congratulations.
Thank you. And my wife requires, special attention during pregnancy. If I was at a job, I would be really worried. But since I've got a business and money's not a worry, I can take the time to go out and buy her pregnancy cravings, which lately has been Subway tuna fish sandwiches.
That's beautiful, man. That's
So
beautiful.
that's to me, that's what's most important. And also, I think it's really important to give back. I'm into philanthropy. And it was so nice that the other day when I took my wife shopping at Walmart, I ran into some guy who had just come from Romania, and he could barely speak any English. And he said, he told me that he had just had a job interview. He was desperately trying to find a job. He was there with 2 kids, and he was asking if I could buy him a meal. It was the coolest thing to just be like, dude, a meal isn't going to help you. Just take a cart, buy whatever you need here at the store, and we'll just run my card, And he bought $300 worth of groceries, but he wasn't buying like video games. It was baby formula and baby diapers and stuff like that,
Wow.
The guy was obviously in real need as a father who was struggling. And I believe in giving back like that. Like, I would love to be able to contribute in more philanthropy and do more charitable stuff and have more time freedom to be able to go and serve. Like, that's what's in it for me, because once again, those are experiences that I get high off of those things,
Yeah, those are peak level experiences, and I actually have a theory on this that there's a flow that a high level entrepreneur goes, which is they first start out as a hustler, which is probably the client game, getting clients, you're hustling, you're running around, and then you're a real entrepreneur, which is being able to invest and being able to use your money to realize gains. So most people that say they're entrepreneurs aren't actual entrepreneurs. They're still in hustler. And then after entrepreneurship, there's philanthropy. And so I think that's like a really, really important route for entrepreneurs to take, is go towards the giving back. And because we don't live in a vacuum, we live in a world that relies on on each other. We rely on a marketplace to buy our products. We rely on suppliers. We rely on, cheap labor across overseas. So, just because we're successful doesn't mean that it was solely because of our own profound genius. It was because we were able to arbitrage and leverage this amazing network of people that all around the world are doing this stuff. And I think it's our obligation to give back and to be charitable and to be somebody of value to the world, and be ethical in every sense of your business. So going back to even how you make money, how you're making money is basically a public service announcement. And so, to me, that's the full circle of knowing that you're making money ethically and you're doing philanthropy, you're giving back. So I completely agree with you, Tyler. I think that you've really got it figured out. You've got the family figured out. You've got the philanthropy figured out. You've got the money thing figured out. I mean, what else is there, right? After that, what is there? This like space travel? So
Yeah, well, really, just I think that once we reach this point, we want to. I think we have an obligation to share it with those who aren't there yet, which is why we're having this call. I've shared some pretty deep looks into my life and my business, and even saying exactly how I'm making a good deal of my money right now. And I'm not afraid to share that because, some people have a scarcity mentality that, if I share this, it'll be copied or competitors will come in and knock me out. It's just like, you know what? There's really enough to be had for all. And if we get more than maybe our fair share, it's cool to share it because you'll still be fine. And so anyway.
Totally. Right on. Well, dude, I really appreciate you taking the time. It's been 45 minutes. Real quick, though, if there's any questions, real quick, I'm taking up a lot of Tyler's time here. So if there's any questions, very, very quickly, ask them now so we could answer them. If not, if I don't see something in the next few seconds, I'm just going to go ahead and end it. I appreciate your time. Again, Tyler, this has been absolutely, a great conversation to have. And I'm glad you're doing so well. And congratulations on is it a baby boy, baby girl? Which do you know yet?
Baby boy. We're
baby
all
boy.
boys. This is my 4th boy. We're all boys.
Wow. I'm sure your wife is thrilled about that.
She's cool with it. I mean, she feels like we know how to raise boys, so we'll just stick to that,
Yeah. Easy format, right? Just you
Yep.
got a system now that works.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got that part figured out. So, there was a part of us that would have been excited for the new adventure of raising a girl, but another part of me was just like, oh, I hope it's a boy because we already kind of know what to do.
Yeah, man. Well, you just seem very, very happy and content, bro. And I wish you the best. And thank you again for hopping on. And I'm going to go ahead and end it. And do you have any final thoughts you'd like to give our audience and give our listeners?
You know, a lot of people say that you just need to work hard and you need to persist, and don't feel like you have to work hard. If you work smart, if you make intelligent decisions and take action on those, I mean, there's a whole generation now that feels like they have to work 20 hours a day to be successful. And I'm not going to say there aren't moments where you need to do that, but if you work smart and work hard, fortunately the smart work will pay off and you will be able to work less and less hard and get to the point that we just talked about where you can give back in ways other than just selling more stuff, you know?
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you so much, Tyler. Until next time, life is too short to get rich slow, and I'll see you on our next live stream broadcast.